we have a new discovery that's very exciting. These are beauty berries and they grow wild here in Florida this time of year. The bushes are everywhere, and as you can see, Ivana's picking them. Look how big they are compared to her hand. And there are thousands of them just on this one bush. This one bush right here will make many jars and jars of jelly and jam right here. Beauty berry. Look at how beautiful the color is when you rinse them in the cold water. Look at that. Look at that. That is gorgeous. Okay, the first step in making your beauty berry jelly is to lay out everything that you need in the recipe, which is 4.5 cups of sugar, 1.5 quarts of beauty berries, and you're going to put 2 quarts of water on top of that as you boil it. You've got your jar holder, your jar grabber, you got your funnel, you got your measuring tool there for the lemon juice. You need lemon juice to clean the tops. And you have your Sure Gel Premium Pectin. And that's fruit pectin right there. So as you're preparing everything, you just boil and sterilize your jars right there nicely. And you heat the tops and the lids, but don't boil those because it'll melt the rubber. Okay, as the berries begin to boil, the best thing is to take a potato masher and mash those down, and it'll break the berry up and get the seeds out, so that when you finally strain it, it'll be easier to put into the jars eventually with the sugar and the pectin. But this is, you can see that they're losing their color already, and this is just a couple of minutes in the boiling water. It's not even in a full boil yet, so pretty simple. One word of caution that you have to keep stirring this, because if you just let it go just for a little bit, watch how quickly this starts to boil up. See that? You gotta be really careful, because if you walk away from the stove, you're gonna have a big mess. Watch that. After 20 minutes of boiling the berries and mashing them down and stirring it and babysitting it over the stove, you're going to get a cheesecloth over a large bowl. Get your ladle ready, and you're going to ladle the berries after they've been boiled into this cheesecloth and strain out all the seeds and skin. Okay, the berries are done boiling. Next step is you want to take your ladle and try to get as much of that foam out as possible, because if you don't do that, it's going to cloud the jelly up in the jar, and as it cools, it's not going to look as appealing as it could be. So now we're going to take the ladle and put it into the jar with the cheesecloth over it. Basically, it's a big measuring bowl. And then you can see the liquid is almost looking brown in color, but watch what happens when you put the pectin in later. It just brightens it right up. It's pretty amazing. It's like a chemical reaction almost. Now, after you've had the juice strained, we're going to eventually pour it in here with the sugar and the measuring cup. But while this is sitting, we're going to be getting the jars out and ready so that we have them all set up. That's a big part of saving some time there. Now from this part on, it's going to go very quickly. You're going to measure this out to 2.5 cups of the liquid or juice, or whatever you want to call this. 2.5 cups. And then we're going to take this over to the stove and bring it to a rolling boil. And that's the time we're going to add the sugar and the pectin, and we're going to whisk it up. And that's when the jelly process starts to come into the final phase. So remember, this happens very quickly, so you have to have everything set up. Once the liquid is boiling, you take 1 pack of the fruit pectin and you quickly whisk that into the mixture and then bring that to a rolling boil. Again, this happens very quickly. Be careful, it's extremely hot. It's like lava, and it's going to continue to get hot and thicken up. Okay, you can see how this is a rolling boil now. Look at how the pectin changed the color of that juice. It's unbelievable. It just brightened it right up. Now slowly pour in the sugar, stir that in, keep whisking it. Again, for those of you that think sugar is the enemy, well, maybe, but holy mackerel, this is gonna taste good. Now an important part of this is when you have this at a rolling boil, see the rolling boil, it's when you're whisking it and the bubbles are still coming up. You have to set a timer because it has to boil for exactly 1 minute, 60 seconds. And then we go on to the next phase. After you take it off the stove, again, you're sifting off the foam on top because again, with jelly and jams, foam is not good. It'll cloud up the jelly in the jar. And you want to just get that off pretty easy. Just scoop it off. And look at this, it's already starting to happen. Beautiful jelly, look at that. All right, now here's the tricky part. You have to check to see if it's done. It's called the plate test. You take a plate, put it in the freezer, put a little dab of the jelly on there, and you see if it's runny. It's hard to see there. Let me get a little bit closer. See, put your finger through it, and if it doesn't run,
together.
see, it's like the parting of the Red Sea right there. If it doesn't come back together, then it's good. And that jelly is done. Here's the moment we've been waiting for. You take the jelly with your ladle and your funnel, and you start filling up your jars. And you'll see there's a little rim on that jar. For those of you who've never canned before, and you have to get that height right because if you have too much air in there, you're not going to get a proper seal. Once the jelly starts to cool down, it's going to create a vacuum in that jar and create a really good seal, and you'll hear these tops, they'll start to pop when it cools down. And then you'll be done. So one more step, and that's to put the tops on. Here's another very important part of the canning process. You have to clean the rim of the jar. If you have anything on there and you try to seal it, you're not going to get a good seal, and you won't be able to keep these jars preserved without refrigeration. So you want to get that seal good and tight, that vacuum seal, and make sure you clean those rims. Okay, now we're capping the jars. With your little magnet tool, you grab the lid, you put it on the jar that was just cleaned, and then what you do after you get a couple of these lids on, you put that top on, you screw it hand tight, and you let that sit. And then our final step is going to be putting these jars back into the boiling water. We're going to cook those down to get a good strong seal so we can preserve these. The next step is you get your grabber, you put it into the pot with boiling water, and we're going to boil this for 10 minutes. And then after 10 minutes, we're going to pull the rack up and let it hang on the edge of of the pot here and let them start to cool down. And then we're moving into the final step of making beauty berry jelly. Okay, pull the rack up. I'm going to lock it over the edge. Be careful you don't drop that so you don't get splashed with the hot water. I'm going to let that sit there for a little while. It's not going to cool completely down, but we'll let that cool down a little bit and then take those out and let them cool all the way. That one right in the middle there, you see it's not filled all the way to the top. Well, we kind of ran out of the jelly juice, so we're going to refrigerate that, and that's going to be for immediate use. The other ones will be preserved without refrigeration. Okay, after just a couple of minutes of sitting out of the hot water, grab your tongs, put them on a towel, because remember, these are very hot now. They're still hot. And little by little, as they come out and continue to cool, you'll start to hear a popping sound, and that's the seal from the vacuum created inside the jars. The only thing left to do is to let them sit for 12 hours, cool down, put them in the refrigerator, or store them with the rest of your canned goods. Put dates on the top. This is some okra that we did, and just putting a little stockpile of food together for the winter. Hope you enjoyed that.